So about 5 years ago, we were graced with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, a skating game that had a lot to live up to considering we hadn't had a new skating game for some time, and this was the first that was going to be on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. However, the game did not exactly live up to expectations. Now, I gave this game a review and I gave it a pass for the most part because I thought it was fairly playable, but I can totally see why people may choose to give this game a miss. However, this is not the game we'll be reviewing. This is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 for the PlayStation 4. Oh yeah. Okay, so Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 based off the originals for the PlayStation 1 and the Nintendo 64. Great games, iconic games, in all their blocky glory. But what happens when you take that formula, bring it into 2020 HD vision for current consoles? Do we get a good game? Do we get a bad game? Or do we get an okay game? Let's find out. So as many of you may know, I am a huge fan of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series. I've been a fan pretty much my entire adult life, and even my childhood as well. One of my earliest games for the PlayStation 2 was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and Tony Hawk's American Wasteland are two of my favourite games of all time, not even including the skating franchise as a whole. However, there were a few kinks and issues with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. As I said previously, I gave it a pass because I felt the game sort of warranted enough of its own and it carried enough elements and did its own thing well enough that I figured it's a decent game. Not to be confused with a perfect game, as it does have its fair share of problems, which I've discussed in the review. However, a remaster is a fairly safe bet that the game is going to take what worked in the previous games and bring it forward into the current generation. One of the cool things that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 has done to bring it to the remaster is it's put a lot more focus on some of the newer aspects of skating. One thing that it does really well is combine nostalgia with enough new points to bring the game forward into the current generation. I think it does it fairly well. With things like new apparel and custom options for skaters, I think bringing that into the current generation works pretty well. I mean, so far they've not thankfully added microtransactions, but I'm keeping an eye on you, Beanox, because you did it with Crash Nitro Fuel and I'm not falling for that again. But as a fan of skating my entire life, I do have a bias or a vested interest in the series. And it does a lot of things well and a lot of things I would say not so well compared to other games. The game is a fairly safe bet for the most part. You'll be playing through career mode, there's no real story as such. It's take a character, collect all the stat points, complete all the missions, yada yada yada. We've seen this before, so there's nothing really new here, whereas I liked some of the older games with a narrative, like a Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, for example, or a Tony Hawk's Underground series, for example, 1 and 2, because they took an aspect of a story and combined it with missions that sort of gave you something to go along with. It wasn't just a case-by-case basis. However, if you're a fan of those old arcade-style games, then I'm sure this is the game for you. Another great thing about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, the remaster, is that it brings forward conventional elements, as I've said previously, but also it has some new missions available to you as well as some pretty cool unlockables. You will see a lot of familiar faces, you'll see a lot of familiar levels, but there are also some new things, including a brand new Officer Dick, voiced by the awesome Jack Black, and the alien from Roswell. However, to unlock the alien, which I thankfully already have, you need to find the small green alien plushie hidden in every single level across both Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. This is a pain, I'm telling you this right off the bat. If you don't care for unlockables and creative stuff, then I don't blame you for skipping this, especially the one in Skate Heaven. That can seriously go to hell. One thing it does, however, definitely improve on from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 is that there are very few, if any, bugs or glitches. I have not encountered any throughout my playthrough so far, really. The game has not crashed on me at all, maybe that's just me. The game has not had too many updates or anything like that. You know, there was a day one patch for Pro Skater 5, however there wasn't for the remaster, so all good there. The game subsidizes a plot in exchange for these character-based missions. These are individual accolades that either created skaters or the actual in-game skaters can achieve. There are 3 skate competitions in both remasters, so 6 total, including a few hidden levels, including Skate Heaven and the Big Kahuna. This is something that I wanted to add into the review, so I don't know whereabouts this will be edited in, but Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, something I did want to mention, is one of the only games I've seen so far during this pandemic era that has taken into account not only people that have passed away that worked with the company, but ensuring messages to stay safe. You will see them in various levels, including the school level and Venice Beach, for example. So next I want to talk about the soundtrack. It returns in epic form. A lot of the classics such as Melancholin's No Cigar and Goldfinger's Superman have made their return, along with various new artists including A Tribe Called Quest, Billy Talent, one of my favourite bands of all time, Junk Bunny, The Ataris, and so many more. If you guys have played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD for the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360, you'll probably have some idea as to how this game might play out. But as you can see from the footage, it does look awesome, I think. So as I've said before, with the ability to have built-in gaming mods from the get-go, meaning that achieving certain points in the game, and in fact 100%ing the game, if you're not worried about trophies and achievements and so on, is fairly straightforward with little to no difficulty. Some of the missions are already pretty straightforward, as I've said. However, there's a few missions, including Minneapolis from the first Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which is included in the remaster. Some of those missions are a pain in the neck. One such is clearing the 3 air gaps in Minneapolis, which is a ginormous irritation to try to achieve. And considering you only have a 2-minute cap in career mode to do so, you might want to skip this one for now. The game reverts back to the original Pro Skater formula, as I said, so it doesn't have a story or a set narrative outside of the career missions and goals. As I said, the game doesn't follow a linear story or set narrative outside of the career mode. The career mode is essentially the story. These missions can include a variety of things, from getting the high score in each level to clearing the gold medal in each specific skate park, which does add some level of replayability because obviously you want the gold, you want the silver, and you want the bronze. This ranking system means that the more money you get and the more missions you clear, the higher your stat bar will rise so that you can buy new things. So for example, early on in the game you can buy skate helmets, you can buy shirts, you can buy jeans, you can buy skate shoes, you can buy like the apparels, you can buy socks, as I said. You can buy all like the skate gear, the traditional starter stuff, but as you progress level by level, you will be able to buy newer things. Bigger and better things is the idea, and as you progress through the levels, you will unlock new things for the Created Park mode. The Created Park mode is back with a vengeance, and it has newer mechanics, including a level editor, more options, more diversity, it's all there. As some of you may know, I've already live streamed this game a few times, so I'm just treading over old ground at this point for the most part, but to those that haven't seen them, I'm sort of condensing this into information that you guys can sort of take into account if you've not seen the full gameplay or the full reviews yet. So as you can see, the gameplay is pretty linear as it was. It's essentially a HD remaster of the originals, and if you're not bothered about trophies or accolades or next gen or current gen, whatever you wish to call it, then I could see people giving this game a pass, which is a shame because I think they've definitely improved over the mistakes they made in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. I'm so glad that they've sort of revamped their ideas, they've buffered out a lot of problems that Pro Skater 5 had and has to this day that they still haven't fixed. The updates, all that good stuff. At the time of this recording, they haven't really added any new DLC or any add-ons at this point, so there's not really much to talk about in that way. If this is a case of an old school arcade type game where what you pay for is what you get without any add-ons and DLCs, I think this game could potentially be worth the £35 price tag it is here in the UK. So I suppose to summarise, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 did exactly what it said on the tin. It brought about the nostalgic elements of the original arcade games whilst bringing in newer mechanics that I think fans of the old series as well as new fans can both get into. I think it does do a good job overall. There's elements and facets of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games that they just work. You know, it's a simple A to B formula. There's no story, there's no plot points, there's no twists, there's no narrative improvements. It's take the skater, complete all the missions, get the accolades at the end. Overall, I think this remaster did exactly what it was supposed to do. It brought fans of old and new back together to enjoy skating, and what could be fairer than that? I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. Please leave a like, please subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm Heracross Plays, and I'll see you next time.